Good moment, everybody. Hope you're enjoying the winter weather. Again, with COVID, we're all virtual, so glad to be with you at home. Thanks for inviting me in, and thank yourselves for taking a moment to just de-stress, let all that gunk out of the body. So today we're going to focus on lower back, upper shoulders and neck, and hip flexors and thighs. These are the areas that are impacted the most when we're sitting all day long. Most of us are either working from home, so we're in our computer chair, our desk chair, or we're in our same space, which home used to be a great place to just kind of unwind. Now it's become workplace, homes, for some of you, school for your young ones. So we're going to take what space we have and try to make it a relaxing space. You can see for me, I'm in my downstairs living room, so this is where I'm coming to you from. So welcome to my house. There are some of you who are still in the office, managing through COVID, wearing masks all day. So again, I want to thank you for your diligence, for the work you're doing in the community, and hopefully this will ease out of some of that tension. Let's not be so quick to dismiss the extra load that this COVID season has placed on our shoulders. A lot of you are feeling it. Some of you may be grinding your teeth a little extra. I know for certain you're feeling it in your shoulders, your neck, and your lower back. So, some of you who have been taking some of my classes before, you know I like to start with the tennis ball. So if you've got a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball, you're going to grab that. We're going to start with that. We also are going to introduce the massage stick. These are something you can find online. This one is actually called The Stick. You can find these online. Amazon, you can find them at Target, Dick's Sporting Goods. It's a great self-care tool. This one has these little hard plastic rollers, so when you place them on your legs, it gives you a nice grip for rolling them. Some of you who do not have the rollers, you'll also be able to use the tennis ball. Now, I recognize some of you have wrist issues along with that, so we'll address that when we get to that point. Also going to break out the foam roller for those of you who have access to a foam roller today. Again, you're going to be able to modify everything we do today. So again, we're going to start with the tennis ball. So we're going to roll out the bottom of our feet. You're going to notice that if you just stand, carpet is fine. If you've got hardwood, that's okay. Especially if you do have hardwood, maybe put something under you like a yoga mat or a blanket, something that's soft. That you're not impacting your heels, which is going to shoot up through your lower back. Okay, so we're going to stand. And if you notice, if you're standing just straight and you just let your body relax, you can start to feel those areas that are real tight. Some of you are like, well, I think I'm standing relaxed. I want you to take a deep breath and bend your knees just a bit. Okay? And as you're exhaling, well, actually on the inhale first, you're going to tighten up your glutes, your butt muscles, and as you exhale, you're going to relax. For some of us, you may not even realize that you're standing in a tensed up position. So what you're going to do is take a deep breath. You're going to squeeze your butt, squeeze your shoulders together, bend those knees as you relax and exhale. Then you're going to start to feel a little bit more of that tension release. So we're going to start to roll out the bottom of our feet. You're looking for the arches of your feet. This tennis ball, you're going to roll back and forth. So I'm starting with my right foot. This is going to be your left if you're looking at the screen. Right foot. Keep the other foot planted on the ground. Knees bent just a bit. Okay, you don't want to lock your knees. You're going to end up doing more damage to the cartilage in your knee. Also, when you lock your knee, you end up overcompensating into your hip. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. So here's my knees bent. If I lock my knees and I'm standing on this ball, I start to lean off to one side, okay, because I'm putting more of that weight into my hip. This is why we have you bend the knees, let your body relax, stand up nice and tall. Okay, you're going to roll up the bottom of your feet here for a couple minutes. Okay. You're going to make sure to breathe in through the nostrils, out through the mouth If you're dealing with sinus issues, you can breathe through your mouth the entire time. Okay, make sure to keep those knees bent. Let your neck relax. This is going to start to loosen up some of the fascia, those tight connective tissue muscles underneath your feet. Think of yourself like a bag of oranges. And when you roll out your fascia, you're loosening up the string on that bag of oranges. And you start to release some of the tension in your hamstrings, your calf muscles. And you're going to go ahead and switch feet. One thing you may notice while you're doing this, again, keep your other knee bent, is that you're going to start to realize you're pressing a lot harder into your planted foot. So what I want you to do is stand up a little taller, and it's okay to put all your weight into this tennis ball. You can handle it. Okay? My tennis ball is nice and firm. If you've got a squishy tennis ball, maybe the dog has gotten to it over the years, or it's just flat, try to find something harder, a tennis ball that's harder. For some of you, if you need something a little more hard, you can use a golf ball. Some of you are golfers or have golfers in your house, or you just happen upon a golf ball. You can use a golf ball, you can use a lacrosse ball. Try to stay away from a baseball, it's a little too big. You're rolling out the bottom of the feet. You're going to take that ball under the ball of your feet, okay, right across the toes. At this point, your heel is on the ground. If you're noticing that you're stepping too hard into your opposite foot, your planted foot, go ahead and adjust your hips. Okay, you're starting to overcompensate in your hips, so go ahead and adjust your hips and go across the ball of the feet. And remember to breathe in and out, in and out. Go back to the other foot. So again, this is my right foot. It's going to be your left foot if you're looking at me and going along opposite. You can also go along with me without the mirror image. Okay, so I'm using my right foot at this point. My heel is placed on the floor. Great. Rolling out the feet. You can roll back to the heel. Okay, at this point, your heel will come off. Notice my ball just rolled away. That's going to happen a lot. Don't worry about that. Just grab it. Bring it back to the mat. Roll on the heels of your foot. Go to that last heel. Remembering to breathe. Great. Just stand here for a moment, let your body adjust to that feeling. Okay, bend both knees. How does that feel? How does that feel in your hips, your neck, your shoulder? Okay. For some of you, you're going to notice when you stand, if you've got a lot of tension here in the low back, that your hip's going to start to pull up. So even if your knees are bent, it's going to start to feel like you're overarching through your backside. You can place your hands on your hip and go ahead and tuck your hips under. Okay. So you're standing nice and tall, and knees are bent. It takes that tension out of the low back right off the tailbone and the nerves that are sitting in that area. Okay, great. We're going to take my right arm, your left arm, and you're going to reach up towards the sky. Okay, you're just reaching, trying to touch your ceiling. Okay. Reach as much as you can. Get a nice stretch through the ribs, through the muscles below the shoulder blade, the armpits, down to the hips. You're going to bend your opposite knee, so that's going to be your left knee. Right? So the more we sit, the more we scrunch over, right? And then we start to become just a tight ball. Right? So this is why we're going to stretch all the way out. It's going to help your breathing too, right? And give yourself a little more capacity to breathe tall and long. And you're going to go ahead and switch. So I'm lifting my left hand up, it'll be your right hand, and I'm bending at my right knee. So this will be your left knee. You can take that free hand and you can actually stretch it down if you want. Okay, get a good counter stretch. Notice that my neck isn't over to the side. I'm not leaning in. I'm just going straight up. And my heel is off the ground as I bend this knee. Good. Let's do 4 on each side. Okay, reach and breathe. While you're breathing, try to breathe through your belly, nice deep belly breaths. So when you inhale, you're going to push your belly out. When you exhale, you're going to bring the belly in. Okay, so we're adding a little bit more instruction to what we're doing. Go ahead and switch. When you breathe deeply like that, you're engaging your parasympathetic nerves. It starts to relax the body. It starts to signal to the brain that we can start to relax. It's going to start to release the serotonin in the body. Go ahead and go to the other side. Good, and one more time. Go ahead and switch. And relax. Good. Go ahead and shake it out of your arms. Great. You can step in place here for a moment. Okay. When you lift your foot off the ground, for the first couple of times, just notice how you lift your foot. Most of us are going to lift and leave our ankle and our foot right in place. Right? You don't have to lift as high as I did. I just did that to show you. Most of our feet are just going to be like that. Go ahead and see if you can relax your foot when you lift up. Okay. Just lift up. Good. And start to relax the front part of the foot here. Those muscles that when we step off allow us to push forward, our driving muscles. And again, you can lift really little. You can lift just that high, just as long as you're able to get your toes off the ground. If you need to hold on to something, go ahead and do that. And I don't want you to fall all over the place. Keep a good balance. And if you've got a tennis ball in front of you, move that off to the side. You don't want to fall. Great. Awesome. Okay. You're going to place your hands on your hip. And we're just going to circle forward with the hips and circle back. Okay, so at this point, we're going to let our pelvic bones start to smooth out some of that tight fascia through the hips, right, those tight muscles. One thing I want you to pay attention to, your knees. Okay, bend your knees. You've been sitting a lot all day, or you've not been able to really stretch that much. Okay, so you're going to take your hands on your hips. This is to keep your motion going, and so you can keep track of the circle. Okay, it's very easy to just kind of go like this in a jagged edge. So if you keep your hands on your pelvic bone, this will allow you to remember to keep a circular motion. You should feel your pelvic bones press into your hands. I want you to keep your knees bent. Nice and slow. When your hips are forward, okay, you're going to lift your chin just a little bit. When your hips are towards the back, you're going to take your chin to your chest. Okay, this helps keep the neck in line with the spine. And again, we're stretching out some of the neck muscles, loosening up those tight spots there as well. Keep your toes facing forward. If your toes are starting to go this way and you look down, or you're kind of all off to the side, speaks to the tightness that you've got going across the hips and the low back. Okay, so adjust, shoulder width apart, your shoulder width apart. So mine is here. Some of you may be a little wider, some of you may be a little narrow. Just try not to stand with your feet together. Give yourself some space, get a good base. Okay. And the knees, we're going to do 5 circles to the front. Again, when your hips go to the back, take your chin to the chest. Inhale as you come forward, lift your chin. You're going to notice when you hit those 10 spots, as we're going slow, your glutes will start to tense up. If you get to a point where you're noticing, oh, I'm clenching my butt a lot, just go ahead and relax. Okay? Relax in that area. So this is starting to become body aware, starting to know where we hold more of that tension and more of that stress. Some of you may notice that when you get to those tight spots, your foot wants to move. Okay? Go ahead and relax. And there's no rush through this. Go nice and slow. Remember to breathe. If it's too much to remember which way you have to move your head, just keep your eyes down and in front of you a few feet. That'll be a good neutral position for your head. One more time around. And when we get to the edge of the front, we're going to switch directions. Go ahead and switch. So whichever direction you were going to be in with, you're going to switch and go the other way. Remember to keep those knees bent. Inhaling as you come forward, exhale as you go back. When you get to a tense spot in your circle, go ahead and slow it on down and relax those muscles, whether it's your hamstrings, your glutes, your thighs. Functional movement is very important. Right? It's great that we're doing yoga. It's great that we're breathing. It's great that we're exercising throughout the day as much as we can, but it's also important to focus on those functional ways that we move. Right? For some of us, we can't get to the gym. Maybe we weren't going to the gym before, we're certainly not going now, or maybe you're just starting back to the gym. And it's important to recognize those body parts, those body movements that are functional to our everyday life and strengthen those areas. Stretching is going to help, and body weight exercises are going to help. Great. So now you got the hips all loosened up. You're going to take your arm straight up. Okay, again, I've got my right arm up. Okay, you can go with your left. You're going to bend the knees, and I'm going to dip over to the other side, like kind of a crescent moon. Okay. I'm going to use my left hand and slide it down my leg. This is going to help keep me in place. And I'm going to stretch over. Some of you may only get to here. Some of you may get all the way down here, somewhere in between. Okay? Try not to overstretch. You're going to go until you start to feel that bit of tension. Take a deep breath. And slowly relax. You can relax your hand. Slowly release. Nice deep breath. Try not to press on your knee. So if you're keeping your hand on your thigh, that's a good spot. Okay. Or you can relax your hand. You should feel that stretch definitely in the hips. Okay, right above your hip flexors, all the way through the ribs. Nice deep breath, belly out as you inhale. Exhale, belly comes in. Okay, we're going to come out of this. You're going to bend your elbow, so this starts to loosen up some of that tension in the ribs, and then you can come back to the top. Great. Switching arms, going to the other side. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to come down to the other side. Let your arm relax all the way over. Feel it right through the ribs and the hips again. Keep those knees bent. And remember to breathe. Okay, go ahead and bend at the elbow and lift up. Good. If it felt really hard to do that, you may have overstretched a little too far. So next time, just start shallow. It's better to start at the shallow end and work your way deeper versus jumping into the deep end, because then there's nowhere for you to go. Okay. So we're going to do each side one more time. Again, I'm bringing my right arm up. I did not bend my knees all the way down, just a slight bend, and I didn't lift my legs. Okay, so just a slight bend in the knees. We're going to come over again. Start shallow, up at the top. The nice thing about stretching, every stretch helps. So it's not a matter of I got to get deep, I got to go all the way to this point. Even a little bit of stretching is going to help release some of that lactic acid. It's going to release some of those stress toxins out of your muscles into your bloodstream, and then as you're breathing, that starts to come out through your sweat, through your breath, and exit through the lungs. You're going to produce extra carbon dioxide. So So make sure you're getting enough oxygen. Bend at the elbow. We're going to come up to the top. One last time, we're going over to for me, it's going to be my left arm going to my right side. Okay. And again, I'm starting shallow. I might go down a little bit further as I exhale. Okay, again. One important posture for your neck, try not to have your neck all the way down. Try to keep your ear by your shoulder as much as you can. Okay. It's another reason why starting shallow is great, because it's easier to do that. And if you start all the way down, then your head starts to lean forward. Nice deep breath. Okay, bend at the elbow and come up. Great. Good. And again, we're going to actually take another couple circles. For some of you, that may have been really intense here in the ribs. For some of you, it might have felt like a great stretch. Either way, we're going to circle it out. Okay, start to release some of that. And give your body a little bit of a reprieve. Go ahead and circle out. Remember to keep those toes going forward. Inhale as you come forward. Exhale as you push back. Doing 4 times in each direction. Some of you may feel a little bit looser, especially when you're circling. Maybe notice that your feet aren't turning as much or you're not as tense. Okay, go ahead and switch sides. You know, when you get to that tense area, if it feels like it's catching a little bit, slow down. Some of you with kids, this is a great way to teach them how to hula hoop. If we get to that point, I would not bring a hula hoop in here. I'd just knock everything down. Other sign of carrying that tension through the hips, your toes may start to grip and grab at the mat. Okay, relax your toes as well. Good. Back to the middle. All right. We're going to do some forward folds. One thing I want you to keep in mind, if you're someone that deals with very high or very low blood pressure, if you have vertigo, I want you to avoid doing this for the moment. I'm going to give you a modification for that. Okay? If you freely can take this forward fold, great. If you start to feel overwhelmed, I'm going to show you a modification to come out of it as well. Okay? You can keep the knees bent. I want you to reach up for the first one. Reach up with the arms, both arms. Okay, and then relax your shoulders. Okay. As we go through the day, we tend to tense up our shoulders a lot. So when we do something simple like lifting our arms, our shoulders just automatically come with us. Okay, so what I want you to do is go ahead and relax your shoulders and just lift your arms. Great. Exhale, and you're just going to fold forward and try to touch your toes. Okay, so you're just coming forward. If you need to place your hands on your thighs, that's okay. If you need to place your hands on your shins, that's alright too. And we'll release all the way down. So again, one more time. You can either place your hands on your thighs, your shins, or all the way down. Okay? So I'm going to show you what that looks like if you just have your hands on your thighs. I'm not pressing on my knees. My knees are still bent. I just have my hands on my thighs and I'm just stretching forward. I should still feel that stretch through the low back. Just like that, okay? And even if I'm stretching all the way down with my shins, same thing. I'm still going to feel that stretch. It's a little deeper now. And if I'm going all the way down to my toes or just hanging freely, I'm going to still feel that same stretch. Go ahead and breathe. Keep the crown of your head down towards the mat. To come out of this, if you're someone that's feeling overwhelmed by the blood rushing to your head, or the fact that you have to breathe, or maybe you've stopped breathing, go ahead and bend your knees, reach for the floor. Come down to one knee. Preferably your strongest leg is going to be knee up. Good, that's going to take all of that pressure off of your head. It allows the blood to start working its way down through your spine. You're going to lift your head. You take a couple deep breaths. When you're not feeling so overwhelmed, place your hand on your thigh and come back up. This way you're not coming straight from the ground all the way up. That blood has a chance to slowly go back down your spine. It's not going to overwhelm your senses. A lot of us feel lightheaded when that happens. Okay? So just breathe. Great. And then whether you need to grab a table, a chair, anything around you, or you can use your leg. If you're using your leg, tense up your thigh. Take your foot, bend it behind you. If you were like that, go like that. And push forward and stand up. Okay. So that's an easy way to come out of that. So I'll go back to that forward fold. If you didn't need to go through that progression, bend your knees, lift your head. That same action is going to happen where that blood starts to work its way down your back without overwhelming your senses. And come all the way up. The reason we get lightheaded is when that blood and the fluids start to roll past your eyes. Your optic nerves start to feel like they're being flooded, and it overwhelms your brain. It takes on too much. First thing that usually starts to go when there's that much stress is our breathing. So that's why it's important to breathe. Okay. If you're feeling that lightheaded, exhale through the mouth. Okay, get all that carbon dioxide out of the body first. Okay. Take a moment, breathe, you're up. Okay. We're going to do that again. If it was too much for you and you don't want to go through that again, you can just sit this few minutes out and just breathe. Take your hands on your belly, left hand under your belly button, right hand just on top of it, and deep belly breathe. Bend your knees. Inhale, push your belly out. You should feel your hands move. Exhale, your belly towards your spine. So I just want you to take 5 to 7 nice deep breaths. Inhale for 5 seconds. By the count of 5, hold for 2. Exhale for 5. So it's 5 by 2 breathing. So nice and slow. Hold, exhale. Okay. So I'm going to leave you there. If that forward fold was overwhelming, now you're going to bring your arms back up. Okay. No matter which of these you're deciding to do, it's a good thing for your body to breathe. Okay. You're going to go ahead, exhale, and stretch all the way down. And breathe. Even in your forward fold, you can still take a deep belly breath. Because your belly is right over the top of your thighs, you're going to feel it push through your back. Again, if you want to take the on your knee route, you're going to come down to one knee. Relax your shoulders, let your chest and your belly rest on your thigh. And breathe, and bring your hands to your thighs. It's also a good way to start to build the strength in your legs. Some of us, as we get up, it's a little wobbly because we're losing some of that core strength in our calves and our thighs. Again, a lot of us haven't moved a lot, or as regularly or frequently as we once did before pretty much the world changed, huh? So go ahead, bend that foot behind you, push up, come up to a standing position. You can do that even if you're not feeling like it. It's just a great way to get up and start to build some strength in your legs. Okay. For those of our deep belly breathers, we're actually going to join them. So place your hands on your belly, left hand underneath the belly button, right hand over the top, and breathe. Inhale for 5, expand the belly, exhale and relax. Some of you may be able to hear the clanging of glass up top. We're all working from home, we're all living at home, right? So people are just moving about. Good. And relax the arms. Okay. You're going to take your This is my right arm, so maybe your left if you're deciding to work on a mirror. Take your arm all the way across your body, which is my left hand, up underneath, and squeeze that arm in towards the body. Starting to get a stretch behind the shoulder blades here, and it actually feels like I'm squeezing my pectoral muscles. Okay, I'm going to squeeze. I can use my free hand, I can just go ahead and grab my shoulder here. Okay, notice this hand is just relaxing. My arm coming across the bottom has created a cradle. Just let it relax. Okay, go ahead and deep breathe. Bend those knees. Okay. Not only is this getting a good stretch to the shoulder blades, it's starting to release some of the tension in the trapezoids. Right here, that trap. Those muscles that go from your neck into your shoulders. And breathe. We're going to hold this for about 5 rounds of breathing. If it's starting to hurt, try not to squeeze in so much. Let loose just a little bit. If you've got shoulder issues, okay, even just coming up from the bottom. Okay, so if you come up from the bottom, you'll be able to grab here. If it was too much to come across here, some of us can't lift our shoulders that high. So come up and across, you can grab and help your arm up. Okay, so even if you have to be here, as long as you're getting a stretch across. Go ahead and relax that arm and do the same thing on this other side. Either you're going to start all the way across, or you're going to be the one that comes up and underneath and roll. Great. Remember to breathe, remember to bend those knees. This is a great stretch for those of you who do a lot of computer work, a lot of typing. As you're sitting at a desk, you tend to do this, and your arms kind of get stuck. So this is a great way to get a nice little stretch to the back. So what you'll notice is that we may start, as we're sitting at a desk, we may start nice and tall, but then we start to do this hunch. We start to go in over the hours as they pass by. So this is a nice way to get a nice release through the back here. So go ahead and breathe. Hold for maybe 2 more rounds of breathing. Last breath. Go ahead and relax. Just go ahead and wave your arms a little bit. You don't have to come up too high. You don't have to worry about going way up over your head. Just a nice little wave back and forth. Just going back and forth. Just let them feel natural. Then we're going to cross over, left over right, right over left. Left over right, right over left. So this is a good brain exercise as well. So it's crossing left side and right side. Crossing in front of your eyes as well, which forces your eyes to do the work of figuring out which is left, which is right. Great. You're going to grab your arms behind you, okay, just like so. There are some of us who are going to have a hard time because we can't reach back with our shoulder. I'm going to bring you into modification. The same with my friends who couldn't reach all the way down, which is just fine. So you're going to find something that's about right up to your thigh or hip, maybe a table, couch. Okay, so I'm going to use my table here and move this. Okay. So I'm going to grab my table. I'm going to place my hands on it. Okay, and I'm going to walk back into my body. Comes a flat board up top, and I'm going to get a stretch through my shoulders here. Okay, so I'm still holding on to this table. I've got good balance, and I'm stretching. Okay, so I'm getting a nice stretch through the shoulders, going forward, up onto the shoulder blades, through my armpits, to relax, bend my knees. Okay, and you're going to start to swing your hips left and right. Okay, so it's going to give you a nice stretch through the low back here as well. Again, this doesn't have to be just a modification for the shoulder stretch. Everybody can do this, so feel free to follow along with this one. Your neck, make sure your ears are in between your shoulders. If they're too far down, you're going to start to pull on your neck, so make sure your head is in between your shoulders. To come out of this, you're going to hold onto this table, you're going to walk forward. So you're placing your weight into your hands, into the table, takes it off of your shoulders, and just walk forward. Voila. So once you do that 2 more times, and stretch out the shoulder. Some of you, if you want to do the shoulder stretch back here, you're going to grab your hands. You're going to shrug your shoulders up, pinch your shoulder blades back, pull down through the hands. So some of you that may have locked your knees, go ahead and bend your knees and pull down through the shoulders. It's going to be real tight up top. This is a very good stretch throughout the day. Okay, so whether you're at the end of your day, beginning of your day, I would suggest as many times as they tell you to get up. I think it's maybe once every hour for 15 minutes, in 15-minute intervals. So when you get up and you're doing your stretch by your desk, get up and just grab my hands behind me and pull down. Nice little stretch here. Go ahead and take your right ear and bring it to your right shoulder. Now you're going to get a stretch to your neck. Try not to force it all the way over. Just simply drop the ear towards the shoulder. You're going to feel a nice stretch coming through the left side of your neck. Again, start shallow, go deep, bend the knees. Breathe nice and tall. Belly is still pushing out. When you inhale, when you exhale, it comes back towards the spine. Go ahead and lift your head on your inhale and exhale and come all the way down to the other side. If you're still doing the table stretch, you can go ahead and walk yourself back up towards the table to a nice standing position. Inhale back up. Some of you may be saying, well, I want to do that next stretch too. You don't necessarily have to be pulling down on your shoulders to do that. That's a great one for right here to pull all the way through. But if you can't achieve that because it's hard for you to reach back and grab your hands and pull down and you were doing the table stretch, okay, you're going to simply just take your ear to your shoulder. Okay? Pull down with the other arm. You can either pull this arm down across and stretch, or you can take your hand over your head. So for me, my left ear is coming to my left shoulder. Taking my left hand, reaching across and placing it on my ear. Okay? I'm not pulling and yanking my head. That's going to stretch out the muscle a little too much. May even cause it to pull. I'm just placing my hand on my head to give it some extra weight. Okay? Still bending my knees. And I'm just relaxing as I breathe. You can even reach down with that opposite hand. So there's still another way to get that stretch, that modification. Okay. Again, you don't even have to go that far. Okay, you can just take your ear to your shoulder. Up as you inhale, we're going to the other side. So this time my right ear is coming to my right shoulder. And breathe. Make sure those knees are bent. Take some of that tension out of the back side of your hips, relaxing your butt muscles. Go ahead and give me a nice shoulder round out. Okay, so bring my shoulders up, back, pinch my shoulders back as I come back. Maybe do 5 of these. Good, and then come forward, go the opposite direction. That feels nice. Right. I want you to work your way down. If you need to grab a table, come down, whatever you gotta do. Just gonna sit on the floor. If it's too much for you to sit on the floor, you can always sit on like a pillow or a bolster or something that props you up so you're not completely on the ground. You're gonna sit. You're gonna take either, if you've got a massage stick like I do, great, go ahead and grab that. If you don't have one of those, you can grab a tennis ball, one One other thing that works real well is a rolling pin that they use for baking. That works. It's the same concept as this massage stick. Okay, so tennis ball, stick, rolling pin, and roll into your legs here. If you've got none of those nearby, make a fist. Take those front knuckles right across the front here, and you're gonna roll, and you're gonna press out the thigh muscles. Okay? So right across the top, over to the sides. Okay. Tennis ball, you're gonna roll the top of your thigh muscles. I like to go circular motions with the tennis ball. You can go back and forth. I just feel like the circular motion keeps it from rolling all over the place. Keeps my clothes from getting tied up in them. Sit up nice and tall. You can take your hand under your thigh, pull out your thighs. This helps you to sit a little more grounded so you're not leaning so far over to one side. Roll out your thigh. Roll it out, roll it out, roll it out. Okay, again, you can use the knuckles, or maybe you're using the massage stick. You're rolling out your thighs. Okay. Thigh muscles are one of the biggest muscle groups in the body. Quadricep muscles. Quad for 4. So you're going to roll that out. There's not really a time that we're not using thigh muscles unless we're sitting in a chair all day. And then we're using all the hip flexor muscles to try and keep our back from hunching over, and then that starts to give way because we've been sitting in this chair for so long. So, as we're walking, as we're moving, as we're up and about, we're using our thigh muscles. When we're sitting, a lot of times they tend to become inactive, but we're still putting a lot of weight and pressure on them. So this is a good way just to roll out those tight muscles. You can go on the inner thigh, again with your hands, the tennis ball, or this massage stick. Go to the other side, the other leg, do the same thing there. If you've got both of these, nothing wrong with interchanging them, or even using your knuckles to it and using all 3, just to see how it feels. You're going to get different sensations using different instruments. Okay, so if you've got all 3, use all 3. If you've only got 2, use both. If you only got 1, well, just stick with the one you got, which would be your hand. Okay. Remember to breathe. When our thighs are really tight, when the hamstrings are tight, it pulls a lot on that lower back. A lot of you I know have lower back issues. With some of the type of work that you're doing, age, old injuries, car accidents, sports. So this is just a nice way to start to bring some life back into your lower back. Increases the blood flow in this area too. Increasing blood flow is great. It starts to bring oxygen through this area of your body. And let's be real, who doesn't want more blood flow in the lower part of the body? Great. So I've used the stick on both sides of my leg. My inner thigh is a little more tender. I'm spending a little bit more time here on the inner thigh. And inner thigh is also where the groin muscle runs through. Okay? It's also running down the inside of my knee. Especially in cold weather, we're wearing a lot more clothes, we're layered up, clothes are a little tighter, and so there's a lot of times where we don't get the movement as we would in the summer or even the spring. And so this is just a great way to start to loosen up some of those tight muscles, some of the fascia. It's great for recovery as well. If you're someone that is able to get to the gym or you're doing a little bit more weight-bearing exercises, some Zumba classes with Alex, whether you're dancing with whatever the online videos are, this is a great way to start to recover those things. So this could be your recovery day. This could be your recovery from your day. Put that off to the side. If you need to sit up against the wall, you can do that as well. Okay, I'm just sitting out here in the middle of the floor, but if you want to sit up against the wall, that's fine too, or up against the backing of a chair. Okay, so to take some of that pressure off of your hips and your low back, I recognize that not everybody can sit this way for so long. Okay? So it's okay to relax and sit back up against something. Okay? So what I mean is if you just want to sit back up against the chair, you can even do that again and roll out your legs. Okay? So you just take that tennis ball and you're gonna roll out your chest. Okay. Again, if you don't have that tennis ball, take your knuckles and just roll out your pectoral muscles right up against the collarbone here. Alright, roll it out. Remember to breathe. Okay, start to roll out some of this tense muscle again as we are at our desk going through our day. Even with the amount of layering that we have to wear with our coats, starts to pull our body forward. Okay, so the tension gets held across the top of the pectoral muscles. This is also where we keep a lot of heavy emotions in our chest. Think about where your heart is. And roll that out. You might find some tender areas. You can spend a little more time right there. You go nice and slow. And roll over to the other side. Good. Yep. We're going to go ahead and stand up. So you can flip your legs behind you. Get to a table if you need to, if it's close by. Or just bring your knee out in front of you, bend your toes behind you, go ahead and push up. How does that feel? Ever notice how your new thighs feel? Take a big stretch, okay? So you're gonna go over to the side or up above your head. And just get a nice stretch. Bend your knees. And breathe. Go ahead and move your hands and your fingers, open and close. High five, stretch your fingers as much as you can, and close them. Stretch your fingers as much as you can, and close them. One more time, stretch them as much as you can, and close them. Go ahead and circle out your wrists. Circle out the wrist. Up and down. In and out. Opposite circle. Great. Start to bring the blood flow back into your wrist. Okay, if your wrists are really tight, one trick I like to do, you can take your hand, so if my right hand is up, take your thumb and your forefinger on my left hand, and I'm going to grab around my wrist as much as you can. I have really small wrists, so it's a little easier for me to grab all the way around. I'm going to lock up my wrist right around the wrist bone. I'm going to lock that up, and then I'll circle out. And go circle in one direction as I'm squeezing, circle in the other direction. I make maybe 5 or 6 circles before I switch. I'll do each direction twice. That's doing is it's squeezing, it's forcing the blood flow back towards your wrist, and it's also loosening up some of that tension right in the ligaments of the wrist. Okay, and then relax. Okay, do the same to the other side. Okay, my wrist can't really go anywhere because I've locked it up, and I'm going to circle to the left, circle to the right. You can make a song out of that. Circle to the left, circle to the right. Gotta have fun with the stretching, right? Gotta have fun. Yeah. And relax. Good. Well, another day, another round of stretching. So, enjoy yourselves. Make sure to drink lots of water. Okay, this is about 16 ounces of water. If you can finish this whole bottle in the next hour, you'll start to flush a lot of those toxins out. Anytime you're exercising, get a massage, stretching, you want to release some of those toxins out of your body through your urine. The best way to do that is with some water, some nice clear water before you go ahead and do anything else throughout the day. Okay? So the next hour, if you can drink about 16 ounces of water. If you drink more, great, but at least 16 ounces of water. All right. Have a great evening, everyone. Catch you next time.